The support that Israel is getting from the United States now is really totally unprecedented. You can see it with President Trump, and there was just a meeting between the Prime Minister Netanyahu and the new Secretary of State, Pete Hegseth, and it's like the support is just astounding and an enormous blessing. And the fact is that Pete is a military man, and they seem to have a much better understanding of what's going on in Israel than others, because it's a military situation, and his support for Israel is unwavering. Just listen to this conversation in the meeting that they had together.
We'll do that later.
But there's a larger thing out there.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, Mr. Prime Minister, it's great to see you. It was a pleasure to see you last night in the White House as well. It is the truth that we have no greater ally in the state of Israel. We're honored to stand alongside you, stare down many of the same threats that you do. And under President Trump's leadership, just like you, we are totally committed to achieving peace through strength, through standing with Israel on our side, putting America first, and never backing down from anything. That it has been and will continue to be an unbreakable bond between our countries. As you know, I've had a chance to visit Israel 8 or 9 times, spent time with you at the Western Wall, watched the IDF in action, visited terror tunnels, understand the proximity, whether it's the Golan Heights or Hezbollah or the Gaza Strip, the threat that Israeli citizens have been under. And it always struck me the sense of purpose that permeates the state of Israel, living under an existential threat. And I've always had a great deal of respect for the response that country has had. And now destroying Hamas's capabilities in Gaza, Hezbollah's capabilities in the north, damaging the Houthi infrastructure in Yemen, and things that are of great importance to America. Those are all of great importance to us. But in September of 2024, killing the man responsible for the 1983 bombing of the Marine Corps compound in Beirut, killing 241 Americans. You have a long memory. We have a long memory. And may our relationship continue to endure. We're going to continue to grow our defense industrial base. We've supplied munitions that were previously not supplied, that are useful in eradicating radical enemies, and we are committed to continuing to do so. So I hope you've noticed here at the Defense Department under President Trump, we are laser focused on reviving the warrior ethos, on rebuilding America's military, and reestablishing deterrence, which is something you, Prime Minister, have done in your neighborhood in impressive, aggressive, and important ways. So it's an honor to welcome you to the Pentagon on behalf of the Department of Defense. Thank you for spending the afternoon with us, sir.
Well, thank you, Mr. Secretary Pete. You've been a great and stalwart friend of Israel. And we see President Trump and the team that he's put together as extraordinary friends, extraordinary patriots of America, and therefore also champions of the American-Israel alliance. I truly believe Israel obviously has no greater friend than the United States, and I think the United States has no better friend than Israel. It's an ally that perhaps is different from many of your allies because we have no compunction about fighting our enemies by ourselves. We're willing to shoulder the burden of our defense, but by confronting the forces of radicalism and terror and the forces that are anti-American at their core. They call you the great Satan, and they call us the small Satan. We just stand in their way, but you are their great enemy. By confronting these various enemies, we're not only defeating those who wish to attack us, but those who wish to attack you as well. And therefore, our victory is your victory. And we're well ahead and well advanced in the pursuit of our war goals that will give security and peace. And that's the only way you get it in our region and perhaps in many other regions. The only way you get peace and an enduring peace is by being very, very strong. And with our alliance, with your support, including the decision you just mentioned of supplying Israel the much-needed tools for our defense, we are a lot stronger than we've ever been. I thank you for this warm reception. It's good to see you again, and I look forward to our discussions away from the cameras.
Good to see you, sir. Welcome to the Pentagon. And we look forward to the discussions as well.
What do you feel about American involvement in Gaza, considering your views and worldview?
I would just say to the question of Gaza, the definition of insanity is attempting to do the same thing over and over and over again. And as the President and Prime Minister pointed out last night, the President is willing to think outside the box, look for new and unique dynamic ways to solve problems that have felt like they're intractable. So we look forward to more conversations about that, creative solutions to that. And as the man tasked with leading the Defense Department here, we're prepared to look at all options, as we've said before.
Mr. Secretary, are you have a plan to send troops to Gaza?
Are you working on options for the president right now that would involve U.S. troops in Gaza?
The President is involved in very complex and high-level negotiations of great consequence to both the United States and the State of Israel, and we look forward to working with our allies, our counterparts, both diplomatically and militarily, to look at all options. But we certainly would not get ahead of the President or provide any details about what we may or may not do. That's just bad military planning. That's all we have.
This is, as the Prime Minister said, we are really just at we're at the forefront. Our enemies of Israel, are the enemies of America. And so we must be standing together. And as the Prime Minister also emphasized, the only way to combat our enemies in the Middle East is with absolute strength. It's not a point of aggressive people who like to dominate. It's a point of these people don't stop unless you show full strength. And that's the position that this current administration in the United States is also taking, which is probably why the two of them are working so well together. And as the Secretary of State says regarding the President's plan in Gaza, we must think out of the box. Everything else has brought us to October 7th. It hasn't worked. It's backfired. It's backfired on everyone. And we must think out of the box. And God willing, that's going to bear beautiful fruit for everyone.